Welcome to episode 184 of the Daniel Yoris podcast. With today's guest, me. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for being here, as always. Yesterday was my 30th birthday, and feels great. I mean, I had a good day with family. I was away over the weekend at the Evolve Fitness and Business Conference in Edmonton, Canada, which was phenomenal. Great to be in the room with some of the best people in fitness and learning and networking and hanging out and meeting new people and all that kind of stuff. I mean, Edmonton is what it is. I guess not the most thrilling or exciting place to be, but it was the place where there were a lot of good people. Took the red eye home so that I could spend the day with the family and just hang out. And so, anyways, I've got 30 lessons from the 30 years that I've been alive, living, doing the thing, fitness and otherwise. Now, if you're listening to this and you're over 30, I get it. You say, oh, you're only 30. You're young. You're only 30. It's a small number. And sure, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way. Not that I feel old or anything like that, but everything is relative. It's the oldest that I've ever been right now. So anyways, 30 lessons. I kind of somewhat randomized them, and I'll go through them. Obviously, I'm not going to go in depth on every single one of them. Otherwise, we're going to be here for a while. So kind of rapid fire through them. So, before I get into it though, it is the beginning of September, or the middle of September now, rather. I mean, my birthday is exactly September 15th. It could not be more the middle of September. September is an amazing time to get in shape. If you're looking to start getting in shape, start taking your health and fitness seriously, looking for an online coach, I'm your guy. Let's start working together. I'm looking to take on new clients. I'm actively pursuing new clients to join my coaching program right now. People who want to lose weight, people who want to build muscle, people who want to develop healthy habits now for the rest of their life. That's what I'm looking for. So if you want to get all that stuff in check between now and the end of the year, let's get it going. We've got 3.5 months, 4 months to the end of the year. There's plenty of time to get it going. So let's get into it. Send me a message on Instagram or send me an email, daniel@danielyoris.com, and we'll get you sorted, but I'll put a link in the show notes there. Into the lessons. Let's go. Lesson number 1. And this actually came from, I mentioned I was taking the red eye home from Edmonton. So I was in an Uber basically at midnight when I turned 30. And with a couple friends and the driver, and it's one of those we're exhausted and the driver just wants to keep talking and asking you stuff. And he was a younger guy. I mean, by young he said he was 25, so it's not like he's a little kid, and it makes me feel old to say that he's younger. In any case, he says, "Oh, so what's the I ask all of my passengers, what's one secret to life?" And two things came into mind at the time. One, again, I was exhausted, half asleep. We were driving by on the highway towards the airport in Edmonton. There's a casino, and I said, stay away from that building over there. The more you can stay away from that place there, you'll be good. And then the second thing was go to the gym. And I kind of said that just offhandedly, sarcastically, but I also really believe that. I think one of the common threads through the most successful people in the world is that they exercise. Maybe they don't necessarily go to the gym, but they run or they engage in some sort of exercise. And so, yeah, one of the biggest keys to success certainly is exercising, going to the gym, keeping your body healthy. It's going to improve really everything. So I think that is, if you're listening to this podcast, obviously you exercise. And if you don't, what are you doing? But definitely one of the keys to life and an important lesson to learn again and again and again and to spread. So, 1. Lesson number 2. It's just money. This comes from one of my clients, one of my in-person coaching clients. He's done very well for himself. His family's done very, very well for himself. They have plenty of money. And one thing that he always mentions when talking about the things that he's doing, and something that's seemingly silly to spend money on, and I'll say, well, why would you buy that? I know you got money, but why would you buy that? He goes, just money. I can get more of it. And sometimes the first time I heard him say it, I was like, sure. Before I really knew him that well, I was like, okay, sure. Nice to say if you have money, I guess it's just money. But I've been coaching him for maybe 2.5 years now, And the more I get to know him and the more, it's not like saying it from a bragging way or anything like that. He's actually genuinely means that. And he's correct. You can get more money. You can't get more time back. You can't relive experiences. You can't get your health back. And he's someone who has a lot of health challenges, which I think we'll talk about that later. It's somewhere down the list here. But yeah, it's just money. So if you're looking for things that are going to improve your life, be it coaching, be it something in fitness, be it a course, be it, I don't know, anything that's going to improve your life, and you're like, oh, money's the thing that's holding me back, or that thing is expensive. Like, I encourage you to kind of reframe what expensive means and think about the return. And one way, in a simpler way that I frame it for some stuff in my life, is like, think about how much money you spent on like dumb stuff, drinks at a bar, stupid t-shirts that you've bought, like gadgets, and just like silly things. And it's like, okay, if I can spend $100 at a club, like I can definitely spend $100 on a coaching session, or on a fitness gadget, or something, a book, or something else that's going to improve my life in some way. So if you can waste money on dumb stuff, you can definitely spend money on things that matter. But I think this also brings like about an abundance mindset, and I've noticed this in my own stuff, where like, hey, this is just money, and you quite literally can get more of it. But even if you get burned, like you learn lessons, whatever, you can always get more money. So don't always just think about holding onto your money. Use your money as a tool, because that's what it's for. Number 3, it's okay to be uncomfortable. Now, this goes in the gym, and this goes literally anywhere else. You're not going to grow. You're not going to improve if you're not getting uncomfortable. If you're doing the same workouts day after day, week after week, month after month, and it just like feels really fine, and like you're never pushing past your comfort zone, you're just not going to improve. And that's just how it is. We don't make the rules. It is what it is. And the same thing is going to be true in the rest of your life as well, right? If you're always comfortable, you're never putting yourself out there, you're never putting yourself in new or challenging situations, like you're not going to have personal or professional growth. So it's okay to be uncomfortable. Chances are you will be okay. And chances are you'll also have some growth from it. So it's okay to be uncomfortable. Number 4, walking is a legit cheat code. This will sound so simple, but I realize this lesson again and again and again with myself and with my online coaching clients. And it's just like, hey, taking more steps in a day and finding ways to be more active. Sometimes it's cycling or swimming or whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be outside for a walk. Finding more ways to be more active in a day is one of the biggest levers you can pull for your fitness and health. If you can be more active, you get to eat a little bit more. If you can be more active, you feel like you're taking positive action, which is easier than trying to eat less all the time or restrict yourself with eating. You can also double up your walking time, calling a friend or checking off emails or answering text messages or whatever other things that you need to do. It is a legit cheat code, and it is the simplest, most accessible thing that you can possibly have. And if you don't want to walk outside, you can buy a treadmill, do it in your house, or there's like these walking pad things now that are quite popular. It's basically like a treadmill, but with no handles and whatever. It doesn't go very fast. It goes up to like a walking speed. You can put that at a desk. You can be watching TV or listening to a podcast or a lecture or answering emails or talking on the phone or doing stuff that you kind of like need to be in your house for. I do this regularly where I'll need to watch a video on some course module, something that I'm going through, or go through client check-ins, or, stuff that's like kind of lower client check-ins. Actually, I don't really do it while I'm doing this, but if there are like lower brain power tasks that I need to be doing that I can just like be looking at my screen and walking, then I'll do that while I'm doing that. So walking, legit cheat code. Please, please, please do not sleep on that. Number 5, adopt a fit person's mindset. What I mean by this is this. It's something that I've been talking about more and more recently if you've been listening to recent episodes of the podcast. This whole fitness thing, paying attention to your food, going to the gym a few times a week, going to sleep early, getting your protein in, doing, drinking water, doing all the things. It can't be something that you are forcing yourself to do just for a short period of time. It may and probably should start out like that because, of course, if it was all quote unquote obvious and automatic to you, you wouldn't maybe be in the position that you're in. So you've got to have some rules and some more strict structure and reminders and accountability to get these things going. But what I notice in myself and my colleagues who are all fitness people, and again, reinforced by the conference that I was at over the weekend where, again, all fitness people there, all of the stuff, it has to just become part of who you are and what you do. It's not something that you have to remind yourself to do or drag your ass to do or get fired up to do every time. It's just a thing that you do. And so the faster that you can adopt this fitness mindset of like, I eat healthy because it's what I do, not I eat healthy because I'm trying to lose weight and I'm punishing myself, or I go to the gym because it's just what I do, not I go to the gym because I'm trying to lose weight, or, insert a healthy activity to this is what you do now. So the faster you can adopt that mindset and the sooner that you can start to like really embody that, the easier this is going to be, all of this. And this leads into number 6, which I didn't realize I stacked these nicely like this, but number 6 is that the name of the game is who can stick around the longest. You're not going to want to do this stuff every day. The longer that you can bring out this timeline, like it can't be an 8-week thing, maybe an 8-year thing, or an 18-year thing, or a 40-year thing. Like this is how long it takes. It takes forever. Fitness is from now until the rest of your life. You're not going to be wanting to do this every single day. And if you have to remind yourself to do this every single day, you're going to forget, your willpower is going to wane, and you're going to lose. So this is why, going backwards a step, you've got to have that fitness mentality. This is just what you do. And no, you won't be motivated, you won't be fired up, you won't always want to do it, but you always have to show up. I think I said this when I did my 28th birthday episode, and the quote is something like, some days you have it, some days you don't, both days you show up. And that is so important. I underrated how important that is. I've said this before as well, but you'll see people in the gym who do stuff like kind of seemingly wrong, but they are there day in, week in, month after month, like they don't miss. And they look and feel great. And so you can get away with doing stuff like not really correctly if you just show up and work hard for long enough. So don't underestimate how powerful that's going to be. We're making good time. We're done 12-ish minutes in. We'll be okay. Number 7, learn how to drink and handle alcohol. And what I mean by this, not become a boozer and be able to take 27 shots in a night and still keep going, but you need to develop a good relationship with alcohol. And that can mean a few different things. 1, do you rely on it to go to sleep or to have social interactions or anything like that? If you rely on it for those things, that is absolutely not good. You've got to get that under control. Alcohol has ruined many, many people's lives, and this is something you absolutely need to get under control, and the sooner the better. Another avenue of this is that you need to be able to, if you're going to drink alcohol in social situations, which by all means, do your thing, you need to know how to handle your alcohol. I'm sure we all know people, friends or friends of friends, and it's like, when that guy starts drinking, like fucking watch out, because it's an absolute chaos being around that person because of their actions, and they obviously can't control themselves or their body or their thoughts or their whatever. You absolutely do not want to be that person. So if alcohol affects you that deeply, you got to just get rid of it in your life. That's the only solution. There's no middle ground here, but there definitely is a middle ground if you can control it. So learn how to drink, learn how to handle yourself in social settings with alcohol or without alcohol, but get control of that in your life. Do not let it become a negative thing in your life. Alcohol can fuel social interactions that are a lot of fun and a great way to connect with people and all that stuff. And it can be like a positive thing in your life. I mean, of course, it's a negative thing for your health, but in short doses and in few and far between kind of thing, of course, it can add a lot of context and a lot of fun to your life. But you have to control it. It cannot control you. So get control of that as soon as possible. Lesson number 8. Never get old. When I said at the beginning, people say, 30 is so young. Other people are like 30, my back is going, my knees this. And I feel like getting old is like a bit of a mindset. You see older people like in their 70s or 80s who still like feel and act young at heart, and they kind of give off that vibe. And I think that's a good thing. Like if a kid, I don't have children yet, but hopefully in the near-ish future, you play with kids. If a kid asks you to, play a game with them, play peekaboo, play trucks on the floor, like, You never want to have to say no to that. Like, you never want to be too old for that, like too mature for that. Like, I think the whole getting old and feeling like, oh, I can't do X because I'm old. And that goes for little things like playing with kids, or more important things like maybe playing a sport. I can't go play football with my buddies. I'm too old. I can't do that. Like, I'm too old. Maybe 20 years ago I could have done that, but not now. Take care of your body so you can do the shit that you want to do for forever or for as long as possible. Never get old. Number 9, get a little bit more tactical here. Cardio is boring, but you should not neglect it. I hate to admit this one, but it is true. Cardio is healthy for you. It is good for your heart. Not the most exciting. Maybe sprints and whatever can be like more fun than just your long, slow, steady state cardio. And I say fun in like at least it's over quickly and like it's moving fast and you can kind of see improvement more tangibly than like, oh, I just went for like an hour slow bike ride or an hour slow jog. Like, it's boring, and it is what it is. But just because it's boring doesn't mean you skip it. You still got to do it, and it is incredibly important for your heart health, which will become more important as you age. But it's important when you're young as well. Just something you cannot skip. So yes, it's boring. No, you can't skip it. Again, we don't make the rules. Number 10. All of the best exercises have already been invented. If you think that there is something you're going to see on Instagram where someone comes up with a new chest exercise, a new quads exercise, a new back exercise that like nobody has thought of before and nobody's ever done before, you are sadly mistaken. There's this whole like optimal wave of science, evidence-based lifting and all this stuff. It's nice. It's cool for people like me, fitness professionals, to like nerd out on the angles and biomechanics and this, that, and the other thing. It is almost entirely, completely useless for the average person. Here's one way to think of it. If you are optimizing exercises based on a specific angle, a certain amount of reps in reserve and a certain intensity level and all this stuff, you may squeeze out like an extra, percentage of a percent, 0.1, 0.5% of hypertrophy or growth or strength or whatever. But if we're really talking about optimizing muscle growth, the conversation has to be around the biggest thing, the biggest lever you can pull, and that is going to be steroids. And people are not talking about that. Now, I'm not suggesting that. We're going to talk about that later. But if we're being real, like, you just blast some steroids, that's going to make you grow a lot faster than changing the angle of your lat pull down. So let's just be real about it. Getting back to the main point here. All of the best exercises have already been invented. Your squats, your bench press, your pull-ups, your deadlifts, all of these things. Just do them well, train hard. The basics will never go out of style. They'll never stop working, and they will never, ever, ever steer you wrong. Number 11, touched on this earlier, but without your health, you have nothing. If you have a lot of things, and if you have not a lot of things, rather, tangible stuff, and you have your health, you will desire for more money, for a nicer car, for a fancy house, all of these kind of things. If you meet someone who is very, very wealthy, who has all the stuff, all the cars, all the houses, the vacation, the watch, the clothes, all the things, but they lose their health, they will only want one thing. They would trade all the money in the world, all the money that they've ever earned in order to have their health back. So while you have it, you must cherish it and protect it. And the best way to protect it, the only way to protect it, is being in the gym, eating healthy, going out for walks, taking care of your relationships, all those good things. You need to take care of your health. Without your health, you will have nothing. And you won't realize this for real until it's taken away from you either a lot or a little bit. Luckily, and I do say that truthfully, luckily, I went through all the shit that I went through with my knee. It was a really bad experience. Not bad. It was a tough experience. And I've talked about this in prior episodes. You can go back and listen to it. It was a really tough experience, but I say that I'm lucky for it in hindsight because it made me aware of all the things that I'm aware of today. I was unable to walk for months. I was unable to do stuff for basically a whole year. I wasn't really myself. I had that whole part of me taken away. And what I realized was I will do anything in my power to never let that happen again. So while you have it, cherish it and do whatever you can to protect it. Number 13, you don't know what you don't measure. This one is becoming a little bit more prominent and again, a little bit more tactical here. When we say that we want to eat healthier, exercise a little bit more, sleep better, these are all good things, right? Of course we want to do that. But what does that mean? What does it mean that you want to eat better? Well, I should eat less. Well, what does that mean? How much are you eating? How much less should you be eating? How do you measure that? Are you measuring that in grams of carbohydrates, grams of protein, grams of fat, calories? Is it compared to your exercise level? Is it compared to your muscle mass? Like, how are you measuring it? So when embarking on this journey, there is a time and a place for strict measurement, whether that be with your food, with the number of steps that you're taking, with how many reps you're doing in the gym, how many pounds you're lifting in the gym. The more you can measure this and get clear on what exactly is happening, the better idea you have as to how to improve it. Because like, again, if you just want to work out more, work out better, eat better, that's a great goal. It's a great, lofty kind of surface level thing. But what does it mean? You have to be able to define it. If you can't measure it, it's really hard to know which way to improve it. So if you can measure it, which all of these things are measurable, then it's really easy to say, okay, great. I'm eating X amount of calories. I can reduce that by 200 calories, and then I'll be losing weight, and I should be good. That's a lot more tactile advice than I need to eat a little bit less. So if you can't measure it, you won't know what it is, and it's very hard to actually improve it. Number 14, get lean first. This is a mistake that I've fallen into, and I see others as well, and talked about it somewhat recently. But when you're kind of going on this journey, it's really this is more prominent for men for sure. The whole like dirty bulking and I just want to like add some muscle and I want to be strong and all that stuff, and it's great and I like it and I get it for sure. But get lean first. It's going to make everything else a lot easier. It'll be easier to like technically actually be easier to build muscle when you are leaner because you'll have more room to grow. There's a little bit better nutrient partitioning and stuff that goes into your muscle. And too technical for this podcast, but it's actually genuinely easier to grow muscle when you're leaner, rather than kind of like putting on muscle and fat while getting bigger, but also getting like fluffier, and then you run into other problems. When you gain fat, the fat cells don't go away, they just shrink, so it's easier to gain fat again later should something else change or happen. So get really lean, get as lean as you want, and then main gain from there until basically forever. The whole bulking, cutting thing is really for higher level stuff, bodybuilders and such. But get lean first, get really lean, and then go from there. Number 15, a high protein breakfast is a key to nutrition. Not the key. It's not the only thing you need to be doing. There's a lot of things that can and should happen. But one of the easiest things that makes everything else improve. I'm really big on what are the smallest actions that we can take that have intended or unintended positive consequences downstream, and a high protein breakfast is one of them. One, it bumps up your protein intake for the day, which is incredibly important. I think we've beat the crap out of that horse, but probably still needs to continue to be said. It also help you make better decisions through the day, keep your energy level through the day so that you'll be able to get your workout in, so that you'll be able to get your steps in, so that you'll be productive, so that you feel good, so that you have good energy with your family when you come home, that you feel good to go to sleep well at night and sleep efficiently, so you wake up and do it all again the next day. This big positive cascade of effects, and a high protein breakfast is going to absolutely help this so much. So if there's one nutrition change that you're looking to make, start adding more protein to your breakfast. I promise you it's going to do you well. Number 16. Halfway through, look at that. 23 minutes, not bad. Tell the truth, it's easier. Imagine if you had to remember everything that you said because you were always lying. It would just be unbelievably difficult. So the easiest way is just to tell the truth, always. And I think this is just a good general principle. It goes for a lot of fitness advice, of course. Like if I was lying to you about the way that protein works or the way that nutrition works or the way that exercises happen or whatever, I'd have to like go back and re-listen to everything that I said to remember, oh yeah, that was the lie that I spun up. And let me say that again. Like, how ridiculous would that be? And this goes across all of your life, right? You want people to trust you, tell the truth. You want people to believe in you. You want people to you want to be able to move up in the world, in your job. Tell the truth. It's going to do you a lot of good. You might hurt some people's feelings, but at least they're getting it straight. Tell the truth. It's an easy one. Number 17. Almost everything works. This is one that's almost like hard for me. Not hard for me, but like I don't like admitting it to a degree, because it makes it seem like, to me, it makes it feel like coaching and all the fitness advice and stuff is like in a way less valuable, but it's not, because there's a lot of nonsense to avoid as well. But like the principle is this: all of the diets can work. All of the workout approaches can work. Now, will all of them get you elite results? No. The deeper down the rabbit hole you go, the more specific things got to get, and that's fine. But for like 80% of the way there, you're 75 pounds overweight and you want to lose some weight, you can basically do anything that sounds good that you stick to for long enough is going to work. Vegan, carnivore. How can both of these things be complete total opposites, yet both of them work? Well, because they both work on principles of calorie deficit. How can using low weights and high reps work, but also using high weights and low reps? How can both of these work to build strength and improve your physique? Well, because they work on the principle of putting your muscles under stress and progressive overload. And so if you do that and you like it and you do it long enough, it's going to work. So listen, the most important thing with this is you got to find what works for you. There is no one right way. There are many ways to get at the same thing. The more specific you get, the more advanced you get, the more important the details become. But beginning and early on, unfortunately for me and my colleagues, it's just not that important. The most important thing is you find something you believe in, find something you can stick to, and then stick to it. So almost everything works, but you got to find what works for you. Number 18. 18 and 19 are a little bit tied in together. But number 18, avoid using steroids or performance-enhancing drugs. It feels like a weird thing to even have to talk about this, but I feel like we're heading in that direction where there's like... Okay, so number 19 is that way more people use steroids than you think. And I know this from talking to people and from knowing about it and what you can see and pick off on social media and just in people in real life. The reason you need to avoid it is this. Almost everyone I know who uses them or has used them, not everyone 100%, but almost everyone, kind of regrets it. And the reason is because, one, it's a lot of work. Like it's not like just a little pill that you take. You got to pay attention to a lot of shit. So if you're going to go down that road, you have to be ready to like pay attention to all your blood work. Make sure that you're up to date on not up to date, but like that you're always have the right doses, that you're paying attention to your vital signs, that you're paying attention to how your body's reacting, that you're getting the right stuff, that you're getting good stuff, that you're taking the dosages at the right time. And it's like forever. You just got to do this. So one, it's like kind of a lot of work. And so if you're not ready and responsible enough to like do that work, it's not something that you need to be doing. Second, they're not consequence free. I think there's a time and a place for them for sure. And it's for people who like TRT will just be for people who like genuinely have testosterone problems after you've exhausted improving your lifestyle, improving your diet, improving your training, all that stuff. Then sure, there's a time and a place for that under supervision of a doctor and people who know what they're doing. But the rest of the stuff, like unless you're competing or whatever, I just think like it's absolutely, there's upside. Sure. Yeah. It gets you more jacked. Like no one ever said it didn't work, but at what cost? It's incredibly cumbersome. There are negative health benefits or negative health effects, not negative benefits, negative health effects that come with it. And it's just not worth it. So avoid it. But also, again, number 19 is realize that way more people are using steroids than you think. So then number 20 on this list is also to be very cautious when comparing yourself to others. Not just because of steroids, but because of all of the things. You don't know anyone else's story, and they don't know yours. So you see someone who's super jacked, shredded, got an amazing body, really strong, all that stuff. You have no idea how long they've been lifting, what they've been doing, what other stuff in their life they've gone through, or anything else about them, unless you know them as like a good friend and you know their entire story. The reason this is dangerous is because it looks like looks can be deceiving, right? When you see someone who's really high level, again, big, jack, lean, doing something, it's easy to say, oh, well, they do that, so I'll do that. What you don't see is why they do that, all the stuff they did before that. That may be like an end level thing, right? And this ties back in with the steroids. Just because they use it, sure, but they were maybe drug free for 10 years, training and grinding their ass off, calculating all their macros, counting their steps, making sure their sleep was good, not touching alcohol, like doing all of this other stuff. And then they got there, and then maybe they use a little juice to get to the next level. But like, that's not the thing that got them there. So when you see people that are at a high level or that you want, you need to really be careful about comparing yourself to them unless you know everything that they've done. And then you can decide whether you are willing and able to do the things that they did to get what they got. Because if they've been training for 15 years and you've been training for 15 weeks, nothing that you do is going to get you to their level in the next couple of months. Give yourself 15 years, you'll get there. But you got to know the whole story. You can't just look at people and wish and be jealous or feel bad about yourself for not being in better shape or for not being, whatever. You need to understand their whole story and be very careful when you're comparing yourself to other people. It's really a you versus you thing. I mean, that's not so cliche to say, but cliches exist because they're true. Number 21, the earlier you start, the better. I have some friends who played football in high school and in the States and in here in Canada, and there's something about like people who played football, and maybe it's because strength training is like established as a thing that is beneficial for football, and so high school programs and whatever will have strength training programs and get kids lifting early. But there's something about these guys where they were lifting like heavy weights when they were young, before everyone was like lifting heavy weights as like an adult in university even. And these guys are just strong as fuck, even when they're like not training or kind of out of shape for themselves. But I think there's something to it when you start earlier, the better. Now, I'm not saying, obviously you can't go back in time. So I'm not saying go and start getting your kids, if you have kids, to get them squatting heavy and crazy weights in high school. But wherever you are now, you are not getting younger. You are not getting more time. You are not getting more energy. Yeah, you're busy and you'll always be busy, but again, cliche to say, there's no better time to start than right now. So the earlier you start, and I'll even add another caveat to this, the earlier you start taking this seriously, the better off you are going to be. You are capable of making the most gains earlier on. And again, the younger you are, the more energy you have, the more potential you have to grow, the better things are going to be. So take it seriously. It's one thing to start and I go to the gym twice a week. I do my, my full body exercise. I go to my group class. I eat healthy when I can. Phenomenal. That's great. But if you want to be like better than that, if you want to be a more elite, you got to take it seriously. And the earlier you can take it seriously, the better off you're going to be. Seems kind of obvious, but waiting for later is never going to come. And it's only going to get harder from here on out. So the earlier you take this seriously, the better. Number 22. The internet is great, but nothing can replace face-to-face interactions. Again, leading back to the conference I was at over the weekend in Edmonton, lots of people who I interact with, look up to, speak with, and whatnot on a daily or weekly basis. But nothing like being in the same room, shaking hands, having a meal together, getting a workout in. Like, these are the things that matter. And the same thing with clients and the same thing with friends. It's great that we have social media. I'm obviously thankful for social media and for the internet. Otherwise, you and I wouldn't even be having this discussion right now. But nothing replaces being able to sit down with someone, share a meal together, share a workout together, and just hang out. Whether that's for business or just personal relationships, like take time out of your day to at least call people on the phone, but take time to go and have lunch with someone and invite a friend out for dinner or anything like that. Like, go out and meet people in real life. And if you're a fellow trainer or coach listening to this, I cannot begin to tell you how important going to these types of conferences, events, these professional events are. Meeting people in your city, if they travel into your city, like, they have transformed my life and my business, and they will continue to only get better from here. So if you're sleeping on these things, I know that they take some time and they cost some money, but again, it's just money. Get more of it. Unbelievably valuable. So go out and meet people in real life and make those connections real. Number 23. You are capable of more than you think. This goes in the gym and in your energy. Always I have people saying, I'm really busy. And everyone's busy. You ask anyone if they're busy, I can almost guarantee you that they will say yes. But how do people get shit done? Everyone's so busy and people can get things done. And it's because you're capable of more than you think. There's like a saying where if you want to get something done, or you're a boss of a company, you want to get something done, you give it to a busy employee. Because they're too busy, or not because they're too busy, but because they're busy, they are getting things done. They are prioritizing and executing, and they will get things done. Versus the lazy person who has lots of time on their hands, well, they got 3 days to do that project. Even though it only should take 2 hours, they're going to get it to you back in 3 days, versus the busy person is just getting stuff done, crossing off the list. So it goes with being busy, but you're capable of walking more. You're capable of eating better. You're capable of training harder. You're capable of going to bed earlier. You're capable of doing all of the things that you know that you should be doing and that you want to be doing to get the result that you have. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. I know that there are challenges in your life, but you can do it. And again, as cliche and as like motivational, whatever as that sounds, like I promise you, you can do it. There are people who are busier than you, who have it harder than you, who have it, are more unlikely to get it done than you. And that's not to discount whatever you have going on. Whatever is a 10 out of 10 hardest thing in your life is a real 10 out of 10 hardest thing. It doesn't mean that you're, starving in some war-torn country, and that's a different level. Whatever your hardest thing is, but you are capable of getting through it. You're capable of doing it. And then on the gym side of things, far too often people just simply don't train hard enough. You've been lifting that same weight for 4, 5, 7 weeks. I promise you, you're capable of more. You can add a pound. You can add a rep. You can do more than you think you can. And when you push more, you find out more about yourself. You find out more about what you're capable of, and you set a new standard. This is sometimes why I like, with certain clients in certain situations, it's helpful to try and hit a PR or even a 1 rep max, or a 5 rep max or something like that. And it just sets the bar. If you know that you can hit 200 pounds for 5 reps, it's on your sets of 8, you can't just be doing 80 pounds anymore because you just did 200 for 5. So we got to set the bar somewhere. So sometimes you got to push the limit, and the only way to find the limit is to cross it. And once you cross that limit, you set the bar and you realize how much you are capable of, both in your life and in your fitness. So push that limit, push it hard, be safe, of course, but understand that you're capable of more than you think. And when you push that, you're going to find out a lot more. Number 24. You don't have to be nice, but you do have to be good. This is something that I've been saying recently. And one thing that I get often, a comment from new clients or people who are, ask why they chose me to work with or something like that. And they'll often say that well, you always give it to me straight. You always seem like a stand-up guy. You're not going to lie. And, it's just real. And I say, yeah, that seems like a pretty accurate description of me. And it's not like a, an act. This is just how I am. And some people, and I've had this from other trainers and whatever, say sometimes what you say is not nice. It kind of stings a little bit. It rubs me the wrong way. And I said, that's fine, but I didn't lie. I didn't do this to hurt your feelings. I did this to say the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. And I think, going back a few lessons there, we don't say the truth enough now. Sometimes the truth hurts. And you will all be better off, including myself, hearing the truth about what's going on, about what you need to do with your health and fitness, about what I need to do with things in my own life. I want people to be truthful to me. I don't need the coaches that I have. I tell them hey, give it to me straight. You are not going to hurt my feelings. And if you hurt my feelings by saying something that I need to hear, then that is on me. I need you to be good. I need you to be good to me. I don't need you to be nice to me. You can be nice as well. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with being nice. But sometimes being nice means lying to people, doing things to not hurt their feelings because, you don't want to upset them, even though it's what they need to hear. And I think that that's a mistake. Time and a place for everything, for sure, but prioritize being good. You can also be nice, but make sure that you're being a good person. Number 25. Proper strength training is mobility training. This is unbelievably important, and again, ties into like some of the aging thing. Again, 30, not that old. Someone who's listening to this who's 50 is like, you don't even know what's coming. Like, I've trained most of the people in my life that I've trained have been older than me. I can foresee into the future. There are older people in my life. I get it. I know what it's like to be 50 and working out. Maybe I haven't felt it, but I've been through enough injuries. My body's been broken enough. I have a pretty good handle on what things are like to like not feel good when you wake up in the morning. I get it. So that aside, when we talk about mobility training, we see these fancy exercises online. See handstands and front splits and all this crazy shit. And that's cool. And this is an expression of your mobility. It's like someone who's deadlifting 700 pounds. That's not their training. They don't deadlift 700 every day in training. They do it once every, however often in their cycle to test their maxes and prepare for competitions and stuff like that. When you are trying to improve your mobility, the best way that you can do that is proper strength training. That means full range of motion exercises on every exercise. That doesn't mean you have to do the splits. It means the full range of motion that you can control. Deep squats, full range pull-ups, arms all the way straight, up and down. Full range bench press, chest all the way open, shoulders all the way back, pushing all the way through. And goes through all the exercises. You need to be working through full ranges of motion. This is how you're going to kind of kill two birds with one stone with this. If you want to focus on more advanced mobility stuff, then yes, you got to do some other things that are not necessarily strength training exercises. But if you do your traditional basic strength training exercises through a full range of motion with control of your body, that is mobility training. And so you need to understand that these things are one and the same, and you need to focus on both. Just wanting to improve your mobility as you age. I want to improve my flexibility is like a common goal. And so, you stand up, try and touch your toes for 30 seconds. And then you do some arm circles and you put your arm over your head and stretch it. And you do, the stretches that you learned in gym class in 3rd grade. That's great. It's just not going to get you anywhere. So what you need if you want to improve your mobility and your flexibility is proper strength training. Proper strength training using the whole body through full ranges of motion. That's how you improve your mobility. It's one and the same. Number 26. I think I already kind of touched on this one too. I mean, it's all the same, man. But number 26, improving your fitness is the easiest way to improve the rest of your life. I've seen this time and time again with myself, my friends, and my family, and my clients, where they start getting a handle on their fitness, start getting a little leaner, start getting a little stronger, start sleeping better, all this stuff. And somehow, magically, quote unquote magically, everything in their life just starts to improve. You find a significant other, or your relationship with your current significant other improves. Things at work start going better. You start making more money. You get a promotion. You're happier in life. You get luckier somehow. This one I can't explain. This is getting a little maybe too esoteric for this podcast, but the whole you're operating at a higher vibration and all this stuff. I think there's something to that, but people seem to get luckier. I don't know. It just seems that everything else in your life starts to get better. It's hard to nail down why this happens. Maybe it's because, one, objectively, you are improving your health, and so that's a big thing. You're improving your confidence, and so that exudes certain reactions from other people, be it potential mates, be it your reception of your work to your boss and the way that they receive that, possible clients, all of these things, and they're all kind of interrelated and interchanging with the way that you look, the way that you feel, the way that you carry yourself, the way that your voice sounds, the way that you hold your chest up and your shoulders back, and all of the things that happen in your life. And I think it's just this positive cascade of events that once one thing is starting to go well and you're taking control of it and you're positively influencing this thing, you start to get the rest of your ducks in a row and everything else just starts to go on well. So again, this is not really something that can be explained in a specific or provable way even, other than I've seen it to be true. I know my fitness colleague friends have seen it to be true with them and their other clients. So we have thousands, maybe millions of anecdotal pieces of evidence here that show that fitness is going to, in some roundabout way, improve the rest of your life. So get to it. Take this shit seriously. Number 27. Almost there. It is weird that other people think fitness stuff is weird. You go out to lunch with your colleagues at work and they order pizza, cookies, whatever, junk stuff. And you pull out your leftovers that you brought from home, a little bit of steak or ground beef and rice, potatoes, some veggies, whatever, a normal meal. And you get the looks and the comments like, oh, why don't you just live a little? Like, aren't you going to just eat with us? Like, don't you just want to, why you gotta be the weird one here? It's like, hold on a second. I'm eating food that's healthy for me. I'm eating food that was grown from the earth. I'm eating food that is real and good and makes me feel good. Why am I the weird one? Because I'm not doing what you're doing. Even though what you're doing is making you less healthy, making you not feel good, and all that stuff. Not that eating pizza is bad. That whole thing aside. But it's a comment about going to the gym. It's a comment about, oh, you're on a diet because you're eating healthy. It's a comment about living a healthy lifestyle instead of that's a normal lifestyle and anything but healthy lifestyle is the unhealthy lifestyle. It's a comment about eating healthy food versus regular food, which should be the default, and then unhealthy food. It's all of this stuff. It is weird. And don't let people shame you into feeling like you need to do something else to fit in. It is more a reflection of their own insecurities and their personal judgments about themselves that they're making comments about you doing something healthy than it is anything else. People don't really care that much about other people. Like, no one really cares that you're eating healthy food while the rest of the work team is eating pizza. They care that you make them feel bad about the decisions that they are making because they know that they should be doing what you're doing. And so the sooner you wrap your head around that, the sooner you can stop giving a fuck about what all these other people think because they're the weird ones. They're doing stuff that's not good for them, and you need to do stuff that is good for you. And this will come back around. I'll finish off with that one. I won't finish that thought. But people just don't give that much of a shit about anyone else but themselves. So it's weird that we don't label all the actual fitness stuff and healthy stuff as just normal, and we should label all the unhealthy stuff as unhealthy. Like, let's call it what it is. So that's just a big culture shift and whatever. But understand, people don't actually care. They're not actually upset or like offended in any way. They'll just make that comment and they'll just forget about it. So just let it go. Who gives a fuck what they say? Just do your thing, and then hopefully they will either shut up about it or hopefully follow suit. Number 28, learn how to breathe. This is seemingly straightforward. Of course I know how to breathe, you. I would be fucking idiot. I've been breathing since I was born. Have you? Breathing is a mechanical exercise. Being able to expand your ribs, expand your belly, expand your diaphragm, take a big, deep breath in, and do so consciously. Again, getting a little esoteric, but we go there on this podcast. It's all related. You need to know how to breathe. It is actually a skill. You need to know how to take conscious breaths so you can quiet your. That's how you know we're getting to the end of the podcast. Quiet your mind and quiet your heart so you can, get into that meditative state and dig into whatever you need to do the things that you need to do. Learning to breathe, there's plenty of like breathwork type of things out there. There's one breathwork style that I kind of lead all my clients through at the end of their workouts. It's a simple box breathing thing. If you're really interested, send me a message. I'll send you the audio clip of it. But it's an important skill. It's an important skill to be able to reset your state, to be able to be in a stressful environment and kind of just like step back for a second, maybe go to the washroom if you need to, and just like take a couple deep breaths, reset yourself, kind of reset yourself in logic versus emotion. If you're in an upsetting environment, the same thing. And just as well, if you're in an excited environment and you're kind of losing control of your breath, to kind of just bring yourself back to the present. More mechanically speaking, like in the gym, learning how to breathe properly when you lift is going to help you lift more weight. Like you kind of learn how to brace and hold your breath, but also brace your core, basically, without trying to get into too much detail here. Bracing your core and supporting your body is like controlled by your breath. So learning how to breathe properly and efficiently in the gym is going to just objectively make you get stronger and be safer and all that stuff. But there's so much more to it than that. So learn how to breathe. Take some time to like take a breathwork class or watch some breathwork videos on YouTube or message me. I'm happy to talk you through it. It's an important skill. It's not that hard to learn, but it is important to learn. It doesn't take that long. Low effort, massive, massive return. Number 29, prioritize your time in the gym. Less is more. So, we talked earlier about how all the best exercises have been invented. One of the things that happens as you become more advanced is you actually start doing like less and less exercises with just more and more intensity. Your workout could be literally 2 exercises. You could do squats and pull-ups. That's your workout. You'll have a phenomenal workout. You'll get great results. Of course, you got to, monitor the parameters and how many reps you're doing and really push it hard and all that stuff. But like, you don't need more things. So as your life becomes busy, you need to find out what are the biggest levers I can pull that will give me the most return on my time and energy investment here. Which means, and again, there is a caveat to every single thing. Is it really the best use of my time if I'm going to the gym 3 days a week and I've got 45 minutes to spend one whole day doing biceps, triceps, and abs? Probably not. You'd be better off doing like a proper upper body workout if you did that. Some pushing, some pulling. You're going to get more muscle activation. You're still working your biceps and triceps, and you're still working your core. And your core should be sprinkled throughout the week anyways. But you got to do the things that are going to give you the most bang for your buck. If you spend one of your 3 days just doing biceps, like your biceps don't need that much work. And you have to also be real about if you only have 3 days in the gym, like, again, your biceps don't need that much work, but also how much are they really going to grow? You're not really moving the needle here. So you got to find a way to prioritize your time in the gym. And this is where, hiring someone kind of comes in handy, because they can tell you this is going to make it be the best kind of bang for your buck, bang for your time type of exercises that are going to actually move the needle for you. So focus on this stuff. With the nutrition, you don't need to do all of the things all of the time. Sometimes it can be like, hey, get your protein in at breakfast. Let's get that up to 45 grams at breakfast. And then everything else is going to come down. So you got to prioritize your time and your effort so that you're doing the things that will not necessarily be the easiest, but the things that are going to give you the biggest return on your time, on your effort, and on your money as well. It's incredibly important, very difficult, but once you nail down those things, everything else becomes so much easier. Number 30, the last one. We'll be under an hour here, so not bad at all. Lead by example and make it bigger than yourself. The best way to, we talk about being an influencer, right? Being online, and the influencer term has been a lot of negative connotation because it's mostly synonymous now with I Photoshop my pictures and sell garbage supplements. And that's, partly true. But really, the word influencer is meaning like to influence someone else. And so I would consider myself an influencer. I'm trying to influence you to be healthier and take fitness seriously and all of the things. But it comes from leading by example. You can't just be here sitting on the rooftops and yelling about it. I do the things that I say that I do, and that is the best way. You can't just tell people what to do. If anyone who's ever tried to get a family member to do something knows this. You can't just tell your family members to like, hey, do that thing, especially with fitness. You gotta just do it. You gotta be around them. And then hopefully they see what you're doing, your colleagues at work, your friends and family. You can't just force people to do stuff. People have to want to do stuff on their own. So the more that you can just do it and embody it, the more likely they are to do it. And then once they start doing it, then it makes your life easier. But you've got to be the person, the bigger person to get the train started. Now, making it about being bigger than yourself is this. It's really easy to kind of like to blow yourself off. I'm sitting in the car at the gym. Before I go in, I don't really want to do it today. I can easily just like go home, and the only person that I have to answer to is me. But internally, if you take on a little bit more responsibility, I'm doing this so that my family will see me training. I'm doing this so that my friends will see me training. Maybe they'll start training. I'm doing this so people online will see me training and they want to start doing their thing. I'm doing this because I promise it to myself. I'm doing this because at work, people are depending on me. And the more that I train, the better energy that I'm going to have. I do this because my kids or my future kids are maybe depending on me to be fit and healthy. And when my child runs up to me and wants to be picked up and thrown up in the air, I don't want to be like, daddy's back hurts. My shoulder hurts. I can't do that. I can't lift you up. I can't jump into the pool and do a backflip off the boat and do this and make you laugh, and you make it bigger than yourself, it's way easier to stick to the thing that you're doing, whether that be training, whether that be nutrition, or whether that be anything else. Now, that can also be putting a lot of burden on yourself. So, I don't want to say proceed with caution, like it's not that big a deal, but make it bigger than yourself. Make it about something greater than just you trying to get a six-pack. Because that's cool. That's awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just not that powerful of a thing. So making it bigger than yourself will help you to stick to the things you said you would do, lead by example, and that will make it more likely for you to get it done, and then more likely for you to be able to pass it on to others. And that's what it's all about, passing it on to others. So with that, I hope that I've passed it on to you, these lessons that I've learned. And there's only 30 because 30 and 30, it makes nice sounding numbers and whatever. But yeah, I've learned a lot, and in this journey through the podcast as well has been a big part of that learning. So thank you genuinely and sincerely for being here, for sticking around, for sharing the episode, and for leaving ratings and reviews. Like it helps a ton. Like this is podcast is a lot of work with very little tangible return. I'll say a lot of return, in here, but not a lot of tangible return. Maybe one day, but maybe not. But so anyways, those things and getting your messages and whatever, like really means a lot. So the fact that I'm able to give back and share what I've learned and maybe help you along the way is it means the world to me. So I appreciate that very much. Hopefully that you've enjoyed this and you share this one. What else should I do? Again, online coaching. If you're ready, let's get it. I'll put the link in the show notes and get that so that I can help you reach your goals. And yeah, I feel like there was something else I want to say, but I can't remember right now, and I didn't even write it down, so it probably wasn't that important. So let's end it there. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. Follow, share the podcast, all that good stuff. Go outside, be a good person. See you next time.